so glad to welcome Eddie. Eddie is my good friend for many years. It goes in decades probably. Well, Eddie is not Anglo-Indian, but this podcast has to do with people who've impacted Anglos, and Anglos being musical. Eddie has impacted hundreds of Anglos in Madras and across the country. Eddie, it really is. I'm really proud to call him friend because he's done amazing things. He's one of the founding guys. If you're not from the Madras area or not into music as much, Eddie is one of the founding people who kind of created death metal early on, with the first guy to ever not sing Iron Maiden and growl, right? And people were shocked because he was the first person to do it live. At least in my limited history, musical history in Madras. But since then he's done a lot of things, been super active in the music industry in Madras and all across India. Actually, he's even traveled abroad. If you speak to any Anglo musician in Madras, they will all say thanks to Eddie for impacting the life in at some point in time. So Eddie, musical history royalty in Madras. We're glad to have you. I've known Eddie since 12th standard, and we formed a band. So Eddie, welcome. There's so much to get to know. To share your story with the world, dude. So tell us who you are, where you're from, where you live right now, and then we'll go backwards and then go forwards, and whatever we decide to talk about.
Hey, hello everyone, the listeners, and I'm very privileged to be a part of this podcast. And Teashop brings back so much of memory. And Teashop played a very integral part of our journey, I would say. And I was growing up in Ainavaram area, and where a lot of Anglo-Indians been neighbors. And I was also, of course, I studied in St. Joseph's Anglo-Indian High Secondary School, and then St. Matthias. Of course, I was one part of time I was confused whether I'm an Anglo-Indian or Indian. So I was, in fact, all the Anglo-Indians thought I was Anglo-Indian,
Yeah.
and but I kept quiet because can I share some of this funny stories?
Go
Yeah,
for it. Let's hear it.
I remember that in St. Matthias we bunked a couple of classes, and we were sitting behind the church along with some of our friends. I don't want to name them, and they were just talking about, man, these Indian pies are infesting our school.
Oh no.
No, don't worry, man. Absolutely, I was wondering what. It's not. I mean, even I is it's I still that's the best joke. I would say, even though I don't
Yeah.
care. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is, I was that much immersed,
Yeah.
and they thought I'm part of the I'm one of them, and it's
Yeah.
absolutely fine, man, because in life we come across, those are the school days, and
Yeah.
of course there's no hate, it's all beautiful. Everything was
Yeah.
fantastic, and we didn't had the sensitive issues that going around, oh man, this is
Yeah.
racist and that is racist. No,
Yeah.
it's part of life. It's part of the growth, and now the
Yeah.
same friends are great friends,
Yeah.
and it's nothing to do. It's just part of life. And yeah, it was glorious days, I would say, when I met Aaron Crocker, if I'm pronouncing the second name, where he, my classmate and good friend, and I don't know whether he's existing or not, but
Wait, was Aaron in Matthias as well?
yeah, of course, he was
Oh,
my classmate. Yeah, yeah.
I don't. Holy cow! He's one of my best friends. I don't remember him in Matthias.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and of course he is the inspiration for the whole
Yeah.
Bonsa is all
Yeah.
about, and I when of course, he said he can write lyrics, and
Yeah.
I said I can sing, and and he said he knows a friend that he plays a guitar, and that is Conrad, and he brought me home, and the way Conrad came from Perambur to my place is with the one hand cycle and one hand with the guitar. Only I don't know how he pedaled from that end to this end, and I'll never forget. And of course, with the box guitar, we practiced death metal. I mean, that's the legendary. Uh, it is not even electric guitar. It's just a
Yeah.
box
Yeah.
guitar,
Yeah.
and that's where we started our journey. And of course, we wrote a couple of very interesting songs.
Yeah.
Not me, I think collaboration of Conrad and Aaron. I'll never forget Gaster Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, guys, please. This is absolutely meant to the viewers. I'm saying these are all glorious, fun days, and no offense to anyone. And am I okay, Conrad?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Being pretty open.
Yes.
I really wanted to be very open. I just don't.
Absolutely, man. Not no
Yeah,
other
yeah,
way to be. Just
yeah,
facts are
yeah,
facts. Right.
yeah,
We
yeah,
wrote some very unsavory songs as a death metal band, trying not because we really believed in anything. We were just mostly stupid and partly trying to be cool.
yeah, yeah,
So we wrote some pretty unsavory songs, some very unchristian. We were trending towards black metalish,
yeah.
and yes, so like everybody, surprise, surprise, Eddie's not perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah,
yeah, I still, big thanks to Conrad. When the reason why is I still remember he used to I used to practice going to his place, and not with the whole band, just him and me with the guitar. I don't know whether you remember, Conrad. Even we were just sitting outside of your house, and you'll be like, reprimanding me, like, dude, if you're not going to get it right, and we are not going to JIPMER. You're just trying to tell me, no, 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 you need to get this part
yeah,
right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that too with the growling with the guitar and sitting outside.
People
Loud,
without the street dogs.
tender growl, like, okay, no, no, no. Yeah,
So I
so,
remember, Eddie, the formative. When I came to your house first, I know Aaron, from my side, like Aaron said, like, hey, there's this guy, Eddie. First of all, I remember all of us sitting in class in Matthias because you joined a little late. And then we
yeah.
saw this guy with long hair and beard. And we thought, like, who's this guy? He looks kind of like different. He looks like a party guy, like total wild man coming to the school where everything was very kind of prim and proper, at least, right? And you
Yeah,
definitely were a wild man. Um, uh, and you're walking around, and next thing we know, you're in our class, and we said, "Oh, like, well, at least not in my class. I think you're right." We said, like, "Oh,
yeah.
this cool dude's actually coming to study here. That's nice." And then I don't think we ever connected, even though we were in the same school in
Yeah.
St. Matthias. But Aaron said, "Let's go to this guy Eddie's house." And when I came there, I still remember we were listening to live, I Alone. Uh,
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and you were singing that, and then Aaron said, "Okay, let's practice some songs." And we kind of made up, like he had lyrics, and we just kind of made up a song there. And we went to practice. We were not playing quite as heavy, but I
Yeah.
remember we went to practice at Johnny's or somewhere in Perswakam. Really, not. I think it.
Yeah, it was not Johnny's. It was, yeah, I don't remember the
Yeah,
schools.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't think I ever had a distortion. Had just an acoustic guitar. I went there. There was a distortion. Plugged it in, and like played it. Like I said, "Holy cow! This is like the music I listen to." And then the music style completely. I remember like Goosebumps. We played, and it was the music we wanted to play. but could not with the acoustic guitar. And we walked out like kings after that. Like holy
Yeah.
cow, we are playing like
Yeah.
a Napalm Death or whatever we were
Yeah.
listening to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And said like we actually sound like the heavy metal dudes we listened to, and that was such a good feeling. And right then and there we decided to okay, make it official. This is what we want to play, and we ended up playing. Who was the drummer though? Do you remember?
I think Nicholas, Mike.
Really? I know
Yeah.
Moses was playing bass.
No. Yeah. No. It was Nicky. Nicky.
Really?
Yeah. He
That's
was
what
the
I
drummer.
thought. Like the very first show in that hospital by
Yeah.
not hospital, that government college by Central
Yeah.
Station.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Nicky,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Nicholas
No,
D'Souza.
no, D'Souza, yeah.
Yeah,
You remember we used to go to his house also to practice. He has
yeah,
the two
yeah,
dogs were chasing me around and things like that. So,
yeah,
well, I just want to pick up this part, especially when you're talking about the school.
yeah.
That's you know, Matthias has been, I don't know what to say. It's a heaven
Uh,
for me when I entered into Matthias. It was such a great time in my life. I'll never forget. The first day of the school, I was not in the uniform, and I entered in the class, and that was supposed to be Mr. Newton's, if you remember,
yeah, yeah.
the math teacher. So I entered, and I didn't know. I entered the classroom a little late, and there was no teacher, and everybody stood up. And I was wondering why these guys are standing. Then I went straight to the back bench, and I also stood. Then they thought I was the teacher. They're all turning and looking at me. What I'm doing in the back bench. I said, like, no, dude, what's happening? Then 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 the teacher came in, and then he said, "There, welcome our new student." I'm like, oh, student? And somebody also, one of those guys did a false propaganda about me, like, saying that he's already married, he's got a child, which is studying in this school. Man, and
I did not hear that. Maybe I
yeah,
have.
there's,
Maybe I did
there's,
hear that
and I
rumor. Yeah.
also, and later on, I also pretended to be, the school teacher. And when the parents' day, when the parents were coming into the class to meet the teacher, I used to catch them outside itself and talk to them and make sure everything's sorted out and send them back. Oh man, they
Hilarious, man.
used me a lot.
So who else was in your class? Who are the other
um,
Boys? I know, was Kurt in your class? No.
yeah, Kurt was in
Oh,
my
Kurt
class.
was in your class. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was a junior, by the way, because I was I I 1 year at 10th I failed,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, and joined the 11th a little later, and yeah, I was in the court, and I've got Thomas, couple of guys who yeah, and Ricardo, you
I
remember?
remember vaguely. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
So how
couple of
come you weren't part of the Matthias band? I know Andrew, myself,
yeah,
Kurt,
yeah. I know what really
Neil.
happened with the band. Like, they were pretty. I think very childish thing happened. Like, those days.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
they
of
were very
course.
strict about with their own team, and like, I
Yeah,
think they had some tiff with you. I guess.
yeah.
I remember you telling me, and that's the reason we formed a band separately.
Yeah,
This
nothing like
whole Eddie.
teenage egos, right?
Yeah, yeah, of
Uh,
course, of course.
yeah,
Yeah, and some of them, I still can't believe, stuck to the time, like,
yeah, yeah. It
yeah,
was
but
fun times,
it's,
man.
yeah,
Matthias, so you actually grew up in? Did you grow up in your? Was that was your dad's house, right? That was Oteri,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Close
Oteri,
to.
yeah,
So is
yeah,
that where you grew up?
yeah, that's where we had our house there, and
Yeah,
like, the upper part of the house was, how there's no
yeah,
electricity,
yeah,
just only electricity for the the hi-fi system,
Yeah.
and there was no lights and only.
I
Yeah, I
remember
mean,
that, dude. That was a nice place. It was a shady,
yeah,
nice, quiet street, but close enough to the main road, so you can hit Palavaram. I mean, Ainavaram or go to
yeah,
Perambol, either way.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Eddie's had this awesome, huge room. It was, I think he had that was that just for you, right? Pretty
That's
much
for
the
me. Yeah,
entire width of the house.
yeah,
He owned on top, and all he had was a bed and a hi-fi system. He loved music, and he had like this cassette deck that could record whatever, like 50 or
yeah.
30 or something.
One is to five.
One is to five. Okay,
Yeah.
one is to five, and he was just
You know
and
what I was recording. You know why I bought that?
what were you doing?
Yeah, no, I was recording Azra and Ravi Zacharias Ministries.
Oh wow, really? I
You
remember. Yes, vaguely. Yeah.
you know, the spiritual aspect was there always, and I used to hit the button and like where when the party was happening,
Yeah.
and the same time, you know, Christ message was recording at the one side into that's where one part of time the tapes where I recorded went throughout India to even to some of the northeast
Mm.
places also.
Wait,
Like,
was it in a real business or were you doing it as a
yeah, yeah,
hobby?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I was,
really?
yeah, yeah, because I was, you know what, the uh, people thought I'm just a big loser, like I'm not going to do anything,
Yeah.
and with the long hair,
Yeah.
the radical attitude, like the church thought we should give him some job. Where I met Miss Shaldi Manohar, my mentor, still, and where she was the Ravi Zacharias ministry, working for Ravi Zacharias ministry, and I was very intrigued about the way eloquent speech that he gives. So
Yeah.
I was, thought I should listen to him and things like that. And then she gave me this job of, okay, man, get your life right and get this thing done for me. I'll pay you. So that's where I started.
Interesting.
They outsourced through me, like, did the tapes just multiply
Yeah.
the master into many tapes, and it went throughout the country, and and also I'm learned a lot of stuff out out from that. Yeah, that's the episode as such. Yeah.
Fascinating. So that's where we would practice. We go to Eddie's room, and after he was done recording uh, um, apologetics speeches like super Christian, we'd practice death metal. And I remember Eddie was always a cool guy because he would have guys from like MCC come and hang out, musicians would come and hang out, and they would all bring the tapes. Like some guy would bring like Indonesian metal. I remember listening to this bands from
Yeah.
Indonesia. Like
Yeah.
they have like I still every now and then I go to YouTube and search for Indonesian metal, and it blows my mind. Like
This is from Malaysia. I mean, that guy brought.
Oh yeah, Malaysia. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um,
Expedici. Yeah. I
yeah,
still
yeah.
remember some of the bands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just a hub for it was just a hub for music. Eddie's room was like just a melting pot of music and so radical evil music and then Ravi Zacharias. It was the blend. That's interesting, Eddie. So was your family very religious? And you just strayed at that time of your life?
Well, my family, of course, we have traditional Christians.
Yeah.
There's nothing, of course, has religion been a very, very vital part of growing. But we weren't serious. We weren't, how do I say, like, distinguishing good and evil. Like, we were pretty lukewarm, I would say, like, but
Yeah.
not realizing that we were lukewarm, like, because there are things that we can compromise. There are things that, that's the way it was. But that, but of course, I believe that my parents are in heaven, definitely
Yeah.
for sure, because
Yeah.
God knows our intention and our heart more than anything and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So do you remember the first gig, Bonsaw's first gig? Do you
Well,
know? Do you remember what happened?
I very well remember somebody owes me my guitar too. He took the guitar and never returned back. That was my first and the last acoustic. No, yes, of course, I got so many other acoustic guitars now, but I was supposed to be a guitarist. I was supposed to, and this dude called Bonnie. uh, yeah, I mean, I remember the first gig was it KMC?
It was by Central Station, whatever that medical hospital.
Ah, yeah.
That
That's Madras Medical College.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was a big one. I
yeah.
even shared to my doctor about it. Yeah, anyway, that we were very famous in JIPMER and other places. So, yeah, I mean, that was our first gig, and I remember Moses was with us, and you, and uh, I think Nikki was the drummer.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Nikki was the drummer, and I remember, the bands which were playing were so good, and
yeah,
suddenly we were saying that Bonnie saying, "I'm not going to play," and Moses had to take up the bass, and
yeah,
um, and yeah, I mean that was a killer show. That was a
yeah.
killer show. We
So,
we
so
had a
this show was after we practiced probably once with actual drums and electric guitar, and we thought we were kings, and it's like to our ears we sounded awesome. Just one practice, and then we competed, and so we did okay, but then we went there and we saw other bands, right, just playing, like, oh, that's how you play live. Because I think that was my first live concert. Even I've never been to a concert before, right? So I was like blown away, and like knees were shaking on stage playing. But do you remember when we started, like, but that was the first time I think people heard those kinds of sounds coming out from a person on
yeah,
stage.
yeah,
And you remember there was like a neem tree, and when you were
yeah.
growling, everybody
Allow
took the
me,
neem tree, they cut
allow
some
me
branches,
to.
started hitting their heads, and that was kind of the most metal music video you could have. If you had to record it, it would have been
Yeah, no,
insane.
allow me to expand that on that.
Yes.
You know what? We made some of the biggest fans that time. I don't know whether you remember these guys from SRM College, I guess SRMC College, medical students were there, and those are NRI dudes. Those
Yeah.
those guys who know metal,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's a bunch of guys who don't know metal. They were literally, in India, we have this tradition where when there is a goddess called Kali, and which has been worshipped here, and these guys go with a neem tree, and they get what do you call that? I shouldn't. But I don't know whether it should.
Possessed? Is that what they?
Yeah, possessed. Yeah, possessed or immersed. Like, whatever that is.
Yeah.
According to Christianity, they're possessed. Yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And they started dance. They'll start dancing with the neem tree, and
And they
these
do
guys.
that to cast out the demon, right? Is
Yeah.
that?
No,
I
no,
don't.
no, no.
I
They
don't know
do that.
any of this. I
No, no, they
assume.
do that. They do that to glorify the demons.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Okay.
That's why the ritual dance is all about.
Okay.
And
Okay.
when they, I think I was not personified anything. I mean, only
Yeah.
Holy Spirit was in me. Like, from there to now. Like, but they thought I'm some goddess, so whatever that is. They started dancing in front of us, and the same time there were these guys who know metal. These guys, were crazy metal fans, were there headbanging for us,
Yeah.
and they were
Yeah.
flashing also. Guys, in India, men also flash, so please. I think you don't. I don't know whether, because there's so much of tension.
Yeah.
Conrad won't even lift his head. and and the way he'll be very serious. So I'm the I'm the wild side of it, because the reason
Yep.
why is to cover my what do you call that, to cover my
Stage fright.
fear,
Yeah.
cover my fears, so I'll be more loud, I'll be
Yeah.
more active, so
Yeah.
that that it just do the act, and and yeah, it was actually, Conrad, I had to tell you, that is one of the best shows. That is
Yeah.
one of the best shows. That's still spoken about. This guy called Nafis. I don't know which part of the world he's right now. He's a doctor. That one name I remember, because they followed us in JIPMER. They also played in JIPMER. I know they remember it was raining and things.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I remember that
yeah,
show. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, yeah. I mean, so those guys become biggest fans of us. They were
Yeah.
crazy fans, and yeah. I mean, that was just a wild gig, and yeah. When we were waiting for the results also, and I remember I ran. I heard the result was I don't know why I heard this Bonesaw. It was actually Moksha. Moksha won the and I was running to you and saying that we won. And no, that was Moksha, not Bonesaw.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
we practiced once without we're not great musicians at that point in time. Not still now, but we definitely I understand a little bit more. But that time we were super green, super raw. Practiced once and expecting to win when Moksha was playing. As we said, we were 90% stupid, 10% trying to be cool.
Moksha was a legendary band, by the way. I mean,
Absolutely, they were
yeah, they
pros,
were,
man.
yeah, they were pros, and
Yeah.
we were so. I mean, I'm so happy that I can declare this that we competed with it. Yeah.
That's our claim to fame.
Yeah.
We competed with Moksha and lost, rightfully
Yeah.
so. Um, so yeah, dude. So that, but as unfortunately, musicians today do not get to experience the joy, the euphoria of hanging out with your friends, your best friends, plugging in a guitar, right? Playing, you're hearing that bass come in and you're feeling it in your chest and you're singing. Everybody's looking around and saying, man, I love this feeling. Musicians are just being YouTube musicians these days. Just playing from the bedroom. Just go join a band.
Yeah.
Find that wild guy. And just make music together. There's no better feeling um, than making music with your friends. Like I said, just one practice and we walked out thinking we were kings, and then it can lead to some crazy stuff in your life. But yeah, just go form a band. Learn. If you already know an instrument, make a friend. Your musician friends will be your friends for life. Just have fun, and I mean nothing wrong with being YouTube musicians as well, but it doesn't compete at all with the feeling of playing with your friends and then playing live even. Such an awesome thing, man. But I think that show gave us the motivation, like when we kind of fell in love with that craft, right? And then I think we always did original right from the first
Yeah. They
gig,
did
right?
those. Yeah.
We did some covers every now and then, but mostly we were an original band, which was
Yeah.
also kind of rare at that moment. Playing original music, playing heavy, growly stuff people have never heard before was
Some
wild.
of the lyrics were pretty Christian also. I remember this one song, this Return to the Void.
Return
Um,
to the Void, yes.
yeah, and there is another one I think you wrote, and we performed in New Calvary Church, HVI, but only both of us. And
Yeah, I remember
yeah,
vaguely.
you
Yeah,
know, and yeah, still Bobby Gupta, the bishop, he remembers our performance, and he wanted to know what kind of lyrics that we wrote, and he took the lyrics to himself. And trust me, Conrad, that was I don't know whether you have the lyrics that what you wrote. I think I think um, I heard similar lyrics. What third day
hmm.
also, it's about climbing the mountain, the
Yeah,
highest,
yeah, yeah,
swimming the highest sea. I still remember
yeah.
and it was you wrote it in somewhere 95, 6 or 7. I
Yeah.
I don't remember, and
Huh.
that was pretty. I would say, for me, anything to glorify God is very prophetic. That's what
Mm,
I see. I mean, and
yeah,
and that's a very, very strong lyrics. I mean,
yeah,
I can climb the highest mountain. I can
yeah,
swim across the sea, and
yeah,
to do
yeah, yeah.
everything. So that's a pretty powerful lyrics, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I should thank you for writing that and giving me the privilege to sing. That was a song that we sang. I mean, I didn't growl. That was normal,
yeah,
normal tone.
yeah,
What we did
yeah.
for church.
I I think we did some songs that were not we liked. I mean, to start off with, we're just fans of music, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like if you listen, if you see what Eddie listened to at that moment, even this time, it's going to be like from crazy pop to extreme
yeah,
hardcore stuff, right? So we were fans of music. Obviously, we played in the heavier genre, but there were songs that you would sing. It almost, I'm not sure if you remember the band Gravedigger, but he would have some melodic stuff, but then get into like some heavy stuff. And but but yeah, Eddie was just a we're just fans of music, and we would play. And also Eddie, uh, like, to be honest, like whatever we lacked in our musical skills and in like guitar, Eddie made up for the stage presence. Eddie, I think that that is a lesson for almost every band, who just wants to stand and deliver, which is fine. Some of the pro bands do it, but they've been doing it for like 30 years, so they just go through the motions. But I think what also, it was a shock value, right? I think there was a plenty of shock value when we played for the first time. Eddie was wild, first of all, super aggressive, not in a mean way, but just owned the stage, and was super aggressive. Would run around, jump around, energy, do some whatever crazy stuff he thought about. He just did it. Interacted with the crowd. That entertainer, I think, goes a long way, and people will forgive some of the blue notes or the missed beats, whatever, right? So Eddie was a great performer, and so you think we formed Bonesaw in when 1992,
yeah,
1990? I have no idea,
yeah.
something like that.
It's 92, 93 part of time. We've been meeting. We've been meeting quite
Yeah,
often, and whenever we meet, we listen to a lot of music. Almost the whole day, we sit and
yeah,
keep listening, and that's what when you spoke about when you're speaking to the crowd. I'm talking with the young generation about um, going out and finding right people. I would like to add also is like, please don't miss out, commune with friends. I'm talking about in a clean way, talking about music. What we did is we used to sit and listen and talk and
yeah,
trying to understand, who's playing what, and about the artist which has been played on the tape. And that has been that's missing out this generation big time. Even though both my kids are musicians, and it's become so artificial, and like meet jam, because now we got all kind of equipments and it's really available everywhere.
yeah,
I remember those days, getting that electrical guitar amp. I mean,
yeah,
it's a big deal. I
yeah,
made a makeshift mixer where you can connect in with my hi-fi stereo audio system, like somehow connect and play the electric guitar. And Mark III grade had the toy drum kit. It's literally, we imagine that's a drum kit that he was playing with the double bass, and he did it immaculate. It
yeah,
was like perfect.
yeah,
It was perfect. No, the whole band was somehow it. Even though we were trying to be a rebel. This is what the lesson that I'm sorry. I need to just do a curve here. I mean,
let's hear it.
being yeah, yeah. No, where God knows our future, and God knows where how we going to shape up. Grow up and shape up, for His glory. And he sometimes he allowed things in our life, and which is like, um and he knew our intentions, that moreover, like, and even though we were so flawed, we were so thinking that this is so cool to do, speak like this and curse like that, and
Yeah,
but in our heart, I think we always had God in our heart. I mean, definitely, I know for sure you and me and a couple of others in the band, especially the leaders. I would say, like, you're the main guy, and I was the main guy, and even Aaron. And in
Yeah.
that case, like,
Yeah.
he had God, always God in mind, and we were discussing a lot of things about Bible and stuff
Yeah.
like that most of the time.
Yeah.
So, God knows where our journey is going to be,
Yeah.
and you know, he was, of course, he's such a beautiful God. He never judged us and put us uh, in a guilty trip or anything, but
Yeah.
he made sure that now I can speak about to my kids about the this is what is wrong and this is what is right. And like even yesterday I was speaking to my older son, and like what about certain things and growing up, like keeping ourselves when we are young, keeping ourselves pure. um, yeah, so that's what I want to emphasize on this journey. Like one is we have to this generation have to, you know without this media and social media and all the stuff, and go meet the real people, talk to them, spend
Yeah.
some time and listen to music together, and find the right tune, and like make the song and make an impact. Definitely that will impact more
Yeah.
than being artificial. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's my piece of
I
advice.
No, I think this is perfect, Eddie, and I'm recording this. I'm not sure when it'll be published, but we are recording this just before Easter Sunday,
Yeah.
2025. So perfect. And I've learned a lot from Eddie. Eddie has always been that wild guy, but with a deeper character. If you peeled off that facade of the wild crazy guy, everybody would look at him on stage and say, based on what I see on stage, Eddie's going to go after the show. He's going to go party, maybe do all the drugs that he can find, involved in all the debauchery and whatever, all the bad things that he can do. He'll do it in that one night. But that was just Eddie trying to compensate for his fear. But really, Eddie had a deeper character. And I think, being that it's Easter, right? I think there was always like Eddie had a calling on his life, and which kind of he's living out right now by impacting the people in Madras in a big way. So I can also share. I don't tell this story to a lot of people. In fact, I don't think I've told you this even, but after it's weird, right? That we would practice death metal. We did not care about lyrics. We weren't at that point in time. Whatever came about was, as long as it was rebellious, it was fine. But we would practice death metal. What seemed like it seemed like we were stepping out of the bounds of what our religion at home allowed us to do. Definitely, it will be like a no, right? We were in that area, but
Yeah.
after practicing with you, going home with my guitar in my hand and my bike, right, riding home, I don't know what would come over me, but I would sing all the way home. Not the songs that we practice. I would make up songs that were like worshipful, and I would sing these worship songs all the way home, and I just did not even know why. So it is the weirdest death metal band ever.
Yeah.
The formation story, right? We would kind of want to go out and do all these things and sing anti-Christian songs and sing these brutal songs, but at the core there was something else calling in a different way, and this story unfolds even to even more crazier things that we'll get into. So also people need to understand that while we thought we were singing cool rebellious lyrics, Aaron,
Yeah.
as Eddie
Yeah.
mentioned, I think went to Bible college or was trying to go to Bible college. Even if he didn't go to Bible college, he acted like a scholar. No, he was a pretty smart guy.
Yeah. Very
But
smart.
he would spend hours on just the first verse of a book in the Bible. So he would write lyrics that are super theologically rich,
Yeah.
right? like even like Ravi Zacharias would say, interesting, right? Possibly, right? And he would give it to us, and we thought like, dude, this is killer. Nobody else is doing these radical songs, and we be singing the most theological songs,
Yeah.
thinking we were rebellious and singing death metal.
Do you remember? Do you remember that New Calvary Church gave us space to practice in the
Yes.
church? Yeah, we we did our practice
Wait,
in the
just for
church.
people who don't know, New Calvary Church. I don't. It's called the. It's also known as what, BB? No, Bible.
The Hindustan Bible Institute. Yeah,
HB,
HBI.
HBI,
HBI.
and it is right by the river on what's that main? What's that
It,
road?
it's Kelly's.
It's in Kelly's in Madras, South India. Yes, it's a
Yeah,
Bible college.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's the bishop had allowed us to do that, and that's a provision. What God has bestowed on us,
yeah,
because I still do that whenever I get an opportunity to testify. I do testify that. I mean, I remember the band called Blood and Fire, if I'm
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay, they were performing at this was very um, this is a very emotional incident happened in during the 90s. That's in 92, 93. I don't remember exactly which year, but I had the long hair,
yeah,
and wherever I went, whichever church that I was in, I was literally pushed out. I was literally was ridiculed and mocked, and I remember this very well. I don't want to name the person, but some of the church leaders in one of the church called me, you're the incarnation of Satan's.
oof,
Yeah. And don't leave my children alone, and don't ever come in contact with us, because literally I was very heartbroken. I was really heartbroken. I was like, as a teenager, I couldn't take it, like, because I was trying to find my identity in Christ, and I was really, really heartbroken. And then that's where the that's where the beautiful miracle happened when these guys were playing in the church. I didn't go inside the church, because I felt I had long hair, but there's a cool band playing inside. I'm standing outside, and they were playing. I think they were doing this one of the song called "Cats in the Cradle." They did cover that too, because those days these Christian bands
yeah,
used to do some covers also to
yeah,
attract non-Christian people.
yeah,
So they were doing that song, I guess, if I'm right. But I was very, I know the lyrics, and I really loved the song. I was just standing out, and really kind of being cool with my hair and like shaking. And this one man came and, like, hugged me from, on my shoulder. He's a pretty tall guy, I mean, taller than me. And he said, "Why are you standing out? You should come inside." That was Mr. Bishop Bobby Gupta. Then, he ushered me in, and he asked me which church you go. And he said, you can come and worship with us. And from then to now, I, you know, I'm still, even tomorrow morning, because I'm going to celebrate with them the Easter Sunday.
oh
It's
nice,
such a joy. It's a small seed, you know.
yeah,
Those who are matured need to understand, and so that makes a
yeah,
huge difference. And guys, don't be, just generally, I'm speaking to the audience. I don't know who this goes to, but please, God never, never, ever sees the outward appearance or the character. Even I've judged a lot of people wrong. Like, I thought, oh, this guy is going to end up in hell, man. Like, no. God always looks at the core, the heart of the people, not the action or anything. Nobody knows who's Conrad. Nobody knows who's Eddie is. Like, only God knows. Our inner thoughts, and our connection to our glorious God, who's
yeah,
risen and alive. And, like,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
yeah,
HBI. I remember we also did some other events that apart from you. There was like we
I
worked for
no,
this
I know.
catering.
Can I just add up on that?
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I hope my this thing shouldn't be. You went on the roof. This shouldn't go to HBI, by the way. To smoke. You guys
Yeah.
climbed the church on top, somewhere on top.
Yeah, we got caught. It's a strict, very, very strict rules back then. I'm sure it is good, rightfully so. Yeah, we climbed up and we were smoking, and Eddie mentioned Bobby Gupta. I think his wife back then, or somebody in leadership saw us smoking, and they were so mad that we did that. And did it ever get back to you that we were connected to you or we were just like, thankfully so. uh, that's that's hilarious. So when do you know how long since we formed Bonesaw and then till we went to JIPMER was like, I still
Yeah,
think it's one of the best
yeah,
events, dude. Like they have Coachella over here and stuff like
yeah,
that, you know. And I think JIPMER can be that. It's really great community. It's the whole. If you haven't been to JIPMER, if you're not a musician or you haven't been to JIPMER, it's this
yeah,
place in Pondicherry that has many attractions more than just music. First of all, as broke college students or college dropouts, or some in the band not working at all. The beer price in Pondicherry was like by 80% cheaper than it was in Madras. So
yeah,
so if it wasn't for the music, it was let's go to JIPMER, cheap beer. But JIPMER is like a 3 or 4 day event, and everybody stays on campus, and you just wake up in the morning and just like college students, just hanging out playing music, and then all day something's happening. Then the evening, like the energy starts to build back up again. Like they're setting up the
yeah,
bands, the stage, it's lights, action. Music, you're hanging out with your peers, you're meeting new bands from Bangalore and cool bands from Bombay, and then
yeah.
the headliner comes up, Moksha, which we competed with,
Mhm.
would come
You
and
know,
kill it in the evenings.
no,
The
there's no
head,
sleep.
yeah, there's no
Absolutely,
sleep.
nobody sleeps. There's no sleep.
Yeah,
Nobody
it
sleeps.
yeah,
Mhm.
nobody sleeps. So do you remember the first time we went to JIPMER? And still today, I don't know. Like they say, like the bombs that went off in Japan are still, those sound waves are still reverberating somewhere. I think that was the first time Eddie coined. We went on stage and Eddie just, well, everybody is tuning up, and when everybody is ready,
This is
he just
around 3
yelled.
a.m. or something.
Yeah,
This is
he's
somewhere around 3 a.m.
yeah, he just yelled, "Wake up, JIPMER!" because everybody was tired. They heard a bunch of bands, right? And he just said, "Wake up, JIPMER!" And everybody, like the energy, right? That's talking about stage presence, right? Everybody just was back up and said, like, "Heck yeah, we're about to get our faces blown away by this guy, right?" So they came to see what's up. Do you remember the
Absolutely, absolutely.
first gig at JIPMER? Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it is the I don't know how I coined that word. I was hardly speaking any English. Honestly, yeah, I mean, that was a crazy, iconic statement. I don't know how do I say. I mean, which I made that. I don't know how, and like that was growl that went to went
Yeah,
even beyond the stadium to the hostels also,
yeah,
and people are just they were all kind of. Withered away, and like
yeah,
nobody was paying attention to any of the bands, and you know, I wanted attention.
yeah, yeah. You demanded it,
Um,
and you got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we made it. We made the decision, and of course that was like that was. I remember, I don't know whether it was 96 or 97. Then we killed it. We killed it. Like I still remember some people have spoken about speaking about it even now. I mean, about that gig, and I don't know what I did on stage. And after that, we thought, okay, the show is over. We just going to go back you
Yeah.
know, because and if you remember when we were going back, and there was one guy was the judge who just followed us and said, "No, guys, just hang on. There's a
Yeah.
surprise for you guys."
Yeah.
And at last we didn't we won second or something like that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
oof,
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. I remember that judge come in, and because he was a, I think I think some of the Bangalore bands were also heavy. I think Bangalore had their own scene, so it was nice to meet up, like almost like the founding death metal guys of Bangalore.
that was much later, Conrad,
Oh,
because that
really?
time there was no death metal. We were, in
I
fact, we were the only heaviest band.
Yeah, I would imagine.
They were actually that why I say that it's not a prideful statement, but
Yeah.
we were the first kind of death metal band um,
Yeah.
performed in JIPMER, and later on, the very next year, there was so many other bands were formed. Then,
Yeah.
then the Blasphemy came, and a
Yeah.
couple of other bands.
Yeah.
There were not, there were not many heavy bands like us in
Yeah.
that period of time, especially that part of the year.
Yeah.
We were the heaviest band, and probably I don't know whether in India, but uh, there was another band from Bangalore which is on a very very high status. I keep forgetting the name of the band. That was only they were heavy metal, but not death metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And I remember there were pretty heavy metal. Like there was a band called Threnody,
yeah, that
which
was much later.
yeah.
Trinity and Arcane Ritual.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's Mind Snare. There's
Yeah.
this girl called Yasmin Clare, and who played the
What
female
was
drummer.
the Oh yeah. What was the band that was not Demon Hunter, Demon Slayer, whatever.
Yeah, no, no, no. Demonic
What was
Resurrection.
yeah, Demonic Resurrection. I think they were much later.
Much
Not
later.
much
It
later,
was
a little later, at least.
19
Yeah.
98, 99. I remember that we National Law School. We
Hmm.
played
Yep.
in National Law School. I don't know whether you remember. I climbed that truss,
Yes.
and we did the song called Phlegm.
Phlegm.
Can- you don't remember the song?
I remember this song. Yes.
That's a beautiful song, and also I went on stage saying that our band has been selected to one of the in the Hollywood movies to
Yes.
and
Saving.
as yeah, for the Saving the Ryan's Private, and 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 also the Phlegm was the epic one for me. The reason
Yeah.
why is Phlegm was epic because I went up on stage and asked who's the next band. There was like a couple of guys there right in the front. We are the next band, and I said this song has been dedicated for you, especially the vocalist of the band. And the way the song goes, it is very beautifully sung. The lyrics were very mild and everything. Towards the end, phlegm, phlegm, phlegm on the mic. So I said, this
Oh
mic is
my God.
dedicated for the next
Yeah.
band, the next vocalist.
Oh. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
horrible.
it is.
But
But
yeah,
but you
that
won't believe the guy who timed the show.
yeah.
I tried to push him from the stage. It was the NLS used to be a very high stage.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
almost 8 feet tall stage men, and I tried to push that guy. I literally did, and his name is Vinay, and still he is a good friend of mine, and he still remembers the the thing that I tried to do to him. But it's all in a good spirit. He said, "No,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
that was fantastic time for him." you know.
Yeah,
And
NLS was fine. Bangalore was fun to play.
and
Um,
and in Bangalore, especially NLS, as then we went to St. John's, and when we performed in St. John's, that's where we had Donford, what's his
Denver.
name? Denver
Yeah.
was with us, and before even Limp Bizkit or before
Yeah, yeah,
even
yeah.
yeah, Lincoln Park, we had two
Yeah.
vocalists, one growling, one rapping,
Yeah.
and this guy is a little tiny guy and used to be on my shoulder and like, singing and rapping. And the students thought we were the showdown band. And you know what they did? I don't know whether you remember. They started the fireworks when we were performing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
They started the fireworks. The crowd was going gaga, man. Like, they thought
Yeah,
they know we are competing, but the students thought we were the showdown band. The way we were performing,
hilarious.
the way it
Yeah,
was done,
yeah.
and there was like, amazing fireworks behind that
Uh,
thing.
so
Uh,
so yeah, so that at some point in time we did have Denver Concessos sing with us, and it was crazy. Like you guys would just do things that were not planned, or we would just be playing our music. Like I enjoyed the music. I love being part of the music and playing, listening to it, and just making music. I would just be into that, and but I'll see the craziness unfolding in front of me, like, and suddenly like, what are they doing? What is Eddie and Denver fighting on stage? Is this real or is this a show? But you guys were like rowdy. Both of you were like super. Like he would jump on your shoulders, and it was like watching this. We got to watch the show from the back. I remember looking at, I think Bonnie was playing bass, my cousin, and he looked at like, what's going on? This is crazy. Like your stage presence was wild.
no, yeah, and it was yeah, of course that was kind of peak when we were, of course we there like people are talking about us, and those days without any social media, without any
Yeah,
kind of thing, like people got to know us, and
yeah,
of course Rock Street Journal had covered us also. That was much later, but yeah, about talking about the glorious days of the death metal scene, what we
yeah,
started. Yeah,
yeah,
but it was how do I say, man? I still long, you know, to to I don't know whether we can recreate or anything, but I still long for that those days. It was such a beautiful memory.
yeah.
So painful also. We I remember, at least me, I never had money to even to buy a ticket to travel,
Yep,
and to Bangalore it was a very very
yep,
luxurious one, like to do that, and of course many a times I just used to not eat like anything because there's absolutely no money. Just $100, $50 in the pocket, and trying to, manage that for a couple of days, and it is
yeah,
crazy, man.
yeah,
I wouldn't do that now. I mean, daringly,
yeah.
I did that. Of course, all of us, I would say, we hardly had money in our pockets.
So are you glad there was? Are you sad or glad that there was no social media back then, like YouTube and stuff to record all the antics?
No, I'm pretty balanced. Like, I would one way I'm sad, because not in one footage of us,
Yeah,
on stage.
yeah,
I'm pretty sad. Um, I there are a lot of great memories. Actually, we haven't talked. We just only scraped the surface. Like, we haven't. There's so many great stories behind this thing. One is a very epic one towards the end. What you shared was really really good one. I remember because I left pretty early um, that day, because I know that I don't have money to stay back. So I had only my ticket ride bus money, and so I just left immediately after the show. But uh, how do I say, man? It's just that we didn't take things seriously. We were not focused to make it okay. We next year we had
yeah,
to play this. We had to do this. Absolutely nothing. So, and same time, um, of course, it's like um, it's all the best things on our memory, and I'm glad that it stays that way,
yeah.
and also this will be a story time for our kids and for the grandkids. I can, my son is 19 now. I can share a
Oh
little bit
wow.
more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my older one. My younger one is much, much more into hard rock music and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
Cool.
yeah, I mean, I share a lot of things with him also.
Yeah.
He understands my wavelength. My older son is very popish, and yeah, I mean, he's just swaying here and there, and yeah, I mean, what do I say, man? It's a bedtime story.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
probably we need to write a book on Bonesaw, short story, man.
Yeah. A little documentary on the
Yeah,
90s
sure.
era of music in Madras,
No,
my kid, yeah.
I would really emphasize on that. I mean,
Yeah.
we just need to do probably 5, 10 pages is okay, but
Yeah.
that could be a bedtime story for the for the grandchildren. You know what?
Papa
I
was a
was
death metal star.
yes, and we were singing Flint.
Yeah, I tell my kids that too, and I wish I had a picture of myself at least with long hair, because I myself would like
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
what kind of monster I look like with hair coming down almost
I
to my waist.
I I remember, yeah, I remember. But you always have had a habit of wearing a hat cap. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah. And I remember you telling me that you forgot to take your cap when you were in the shower. I hope you remember the.
Yes. Oh, I had a hat because my hair was so wild, dude.
Yeah,
I
it
was
is.
like, I'm not combing this, I'm not taming this hair at all. It's good enough. Just put a hat on it, and I'm good to
Yeah.
go.
No, because that time there was no any kind of grooming
Yeah,
videos to see, or somebody say no, no, you need to have nothing. Then
yeah,
you know just like that, you had long hair, very long hair. Of
yeah,
course, we were all on headbangers.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, so the story of Bonesaw continues. We were in, obviously we played multiple times in JIPMER and then other places, Bangalore, Madras. Um, then at some point in time, um, my cousin told me about this cult that was operating in Madras, and I said, it's a cult. Let's go join this cult because it'll look good for our image as a death metal band. So the cult happened to be that's where I met John Christian. It was the Vineyard Church in Madras, and my cousin thought it was a cult because they did wild things like no other church would do, right?
yeah,
So he said it's a cult, and I just said, okay, let's go join it. And next thing you know, it's a church with really wonderful people. Changed my life, and within 1 year, well, actually sooner than that, within a couple of months, I ended up working there, and within 1 year, Eddie also started working there. And then the whole Bonesaw would come and sit down and go to church at the vineyard. And I still remember John Christian would say, like, look at these guys, here's Bonesaw, they're worshipping the devil. Well, he would joke, but 1 year ago now, they're all playing on the worship team, all part of the church.
yeah,
And so that's wild that whatever was happening where we practiced in your room came full story, right? And that's where we just took the scenic route to get there, you know. But I'm glad we did, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think you joined. What was your role when you joined the vineyard?
I was in the marketing for Vineyard Music. I was at the Vineyard Music, and I was going around the country selling the tapes, Vineyard Music,
Yeah,
CDs, and cassettes. And yeah, that was my role when I joined. Yeah. Then, of course, then we created this Live 101. I
yeah,
was very much integral part of this Live
yeah,
101 scene, and along with Sarup and other guys,
yeah,
and the JRO festival, which
yeah,
happens, which was iconic festival. Yeah.
yeah,
Man, currently, of course, yeah, past almost 2 decades with the Unwind Center, and now I run the Unwind Center as a director of the company, and um, of course, Unwind Center gave birth to, the festival scene in India.
Yeah.
Honestly, of
Yeah.
course, they were festivals are very scarce in India, and also venues, programming, venues were very very scarce. But we were programming every weekend. We had artists performing, and yeah, of course, Unwind Center. You know, this absolutely, without Anglo Indians, there's no music here in Madras. At least I've learned a lot, so much. I mean, I still miss the community because most of them settled abroad and it's scattered, and there were so many. And of course, they're just to talking point on Anglo Indians. Of course, my rhythm guitar is at the Blood Covenant band. Ronald is an Anglo Indian chap, and there were, of course, there were so many other Anglo Indians have performed at our space. There's so many Elvin De Costa, I mean, the Costa family, and there's so many of them, which I'm not recollecting right now. Still, 2020 COVID, we were running a beautiful venue in Madras, and I have to give it up during the COVID, and we are recreating. We are coming back with a new space. We're in partnership with a venue, and our first gig going to be at on 26th, of this month. Um, Unfortunately, I won't be attending the gig because I'd be going through the surgery, and my son is taking in charge of it. And we are celebrating the World Jazz Day on 26th. Um, but yeah, I mean, I, you know, I want to really emphasize the impact that Anglo-Indian community made, at least to contribute to, contribution on the music side is, it's much, much, much stronger. And, that is, I'm really sad that currently, there are they are scattered all around the globe, but it's all good for them. But being in Madras, I'm missing out. I'm missing them a lot, especially the Vindaloo pork vindaloo. and, and the hospitality, what they give when you enter the home. Definitely, at least even if they don't have anything, at least I get a coffee.
Yeah.
The hospitality as the highest peak. They wouldn't know who you are, what you are, but you're being greeted so, with warmth and with a big smile, and you at least you get a coffee and go to their houses. And I would look forward for more. I'd go to their houses, okay, will I get something to eat, some beef cutlet, and as guys, I mean, hearing from me, I'm talking the truth. Absolutely, I mean, I'm talking out of my heart, and it was fantastic bunch of people. Always, it's joy. It's always been happiness. It's always never know what is tomorrow's going to bring. You just
Yeah.
live
Yeah.
for today and do the do everything that you can the fullest, and tomorrow brings whatever. And that's the joy that
Yeah.
I enjoyed with Anglo Indians in Madras, I would say. And I wish I could go back to those days. um, Currently, what I do is I'm the director for the company called Exodus, which runs the Mumbai Jazz Festival and the Madras Jazz Festival, and we are trying to expand more on that to even to Bangalore. Hopefully next year or this year. Yeah, the talks are going on. Um, that's my that's our IP that we run. I have a partner in Bombay, Gavin D'Souza, who
Yep.
yeah. So we have a team here in Chennai and in Mumbai working on that. And of course, the other side of it, the business side, is the event management that we run. Handling a couple of iconic hotels like Taj Mahal Palace in Bombay, Taj Lanson, Taj in Chennai, and places like that. We curate music for them, and also curate music for a lot of venues, and also do tours for international bands in India, and India and Nepal tour we do, and yeah, I mean, there are a lot of other things that we do too.
Yeah.
So,
So, so Unwind, what's the format? Like, do just live bands can come and sign up? Like, this is on a weekend. If you did, is it kind of like a, hey, do you want to come and jam? This is the space for you. Obviously, work on your craft a little bit so that you're not like net new. Is that
yeah.
the format?
Yeah, you're very prophetic, Conrad. The name of the place which I'm partnering right now is called Craft. So,
Huh.
so yeah, what I'm trying to say is, yeah. But to answer your question first is, there is no more format of jamming, because the reason why is we are creating a stage and performance stage, and we would take. Upcoming band, like, I would put it that way, and to the and also, the fully developed band, like, professional bands also. So we're giving platform. We are opening up platform for them, mostly. I mean, of course, there are a lot of upcoming bands going to be performing, and also we'll go through these days we get to see them on a YouTube, or
Yeah.
screen them
Yeah.
before performance, and yeah, so that's the way it's going to be. And of course, if the band is very raw, we try to we try to help them. Most of the time, we identify the zeal in them, and trying to we advise them, if you guys going to do this way, so that you could perform on the stage,
Awesome.
and that would lead to so many other stages too. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So if you're a band in Madras area and you're working out your craft, keep practicing. Uh, I'll share a link down for Eddie and how you can get in touch with him and send him your demo, or again, form a band with your friends, practice, go play live on stage, be disappointed, take the failure, take the wins, and enjoy the ride. It's a great feeling, and I think Eddie's doing a great service too. There's not that many venues that are so intimate. Sure, you can go play in a hotel, right? But you kind of have to be a pro. But as an up and coming band, a nice intimate venue to play and get instant feedback for your music by the audience's faces. Like you'll know how you're doing, But no matter that, like Eddie's doing a great service, and I know the Anglos have a lot of bands, or at least a lot of musicians without bands. Form a band and hit Eddie up. I'll share his link. He'll be more than happy to check it out and give you feedback. Another thing, Eddie, that I was talking to Orlando about, right? What and this is I don't know if it's on your radar, but having if you could have a recording studio, right? That you could help the up and coming bands record the music, because that would help the original music scene grow a little bit. Maybe it's not the best studio in the world, but it's a start to record a rough demo. And you could maybe I know it's expensive, but if there's some way to subsidize it, right? Maybe have the big artist or somebody else come and pay the full price, and then in the evenings on dead times you can subsidize it for very cheap or free, and let the up and coming bands record. I really think I've been thinking about that really hard, and I think that would be a great thing. I'm not sure where your mind. I know you're doing a lot. You got the jazz festival. Eddie's a busy dude, and he has the surgery coming up. So let's throw one more thing on his plate and see. But do you think about that? And what do you think? Is that a good idea? How would that work? Even.
Well, I mean, I have to tell you, Conrad, that has always been my, what to say, like, I would say my call. I mean, like, even the previous place before COVID, you were there. I mean, we had proper stage and proper
Yeah.
sound, proper recording facility, and everything. we were trying to do that, but we didn't have the expertise to do that. But still, we were trying to open up for artists. But currently we are planning some, especially, I'm trying to open up a residency area. This is my future plan. Near
Yeah.
Mahabalipuram, we got the place, we got the area. It's a half a acre property where near a backwaters. When you go towards Pondicherry, it's a beautiful place, where I'm trying to build a small space where the artists could come, stay, and record. And also, um, artists could collaborate with, the big artists wanted to international artists who wanted to come to India and collaborate with Indian artists. And those kind of facilities I'm trying to. And also, this is, you know me, and knowing me, like, I really wanted upcoming artists to come and do their recordings and do whatever they can, like, to release the EP, or or full length album or something like that. I'm open to do that. I'm trying. That's what I'm going forward, because um, that's a long vision for me, for a long time vision for me, in which I would really want to make it as a reality very soon. And hope God will help me to find funding and things like that, so that I could soon I could build the space and start doing that for the local community. I really wanted to push the local community, because even this morning I was talking to a very, very big promoter, promoting bands from North India. We Chennai's, Madras people never beat our drums, and we have so
Yeah.
many great artists have born here and
Yeah.
settled in Mumbai or somewhere,
Yeah.
and doing great things. And some of them are disappeared, like, some of them
Yeah.
don't have proper mentors, don't have proper guidance, and they just think that they're in that small cocoon where they think this is the world, and the creativity, everything just died. And, like, this is what one of the biggest preacher who passed away, I forget his name. Where is the the real gold mine, where you can find is the graveyard, with the lyrics having what the lyrics that is written not been published, the paintings that been painted not been displayed, and the songs that's been written never been published, like, that's the biggest wealth is the graveyard, and which is just buried, and that shouldn't be. There should be somebody who could, people like us should, bring them out. And it takes two hands to do this.
Yep.
People who listen, just they listen, and if they're going to just um, start judging and start saying, no, this guy might talk, he may not do.
Yeah.
If you're not going to approach me, or I'm not going to find you. It's going to be very
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
I'm willing to help. If you're genuine, I'm definitely willing to help.
Yeah.
In this industry. So it also takes the effort from the other side to come forward and take
Yeah.
time. It's not going to happen just in one conversation. It
Yeah.
needs. I know, I mean, like, I've realized that unless you keep knocking the door, I mean, it's not going to open. I mean, like,
Yep.
it takes some time, and everybody's busy,
Yep.
and everybody's running for
Yep.
their own um, life, and trying to feed their family and stuff like that. That's Indian mentality, like, since I travel a lot, I mean, I know how India works. Like, we have, like, somebody asked me, like, when are you taking a break? Yes, I'm going for a surgery. After that, there's going to be a break for me. Because even then even then I'm still texting people saying that, yeah, man, 26th is a show. I'll make sure I'll monitor this from my hospital
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
make sure this thing goes, like,
Yeah.
but really, because uh, it's just a rat race that we say, we keep running and running and running. Yeah. So everybody's busy. But the guys who are listening to it, please hit me up. and let's see what can be done.
So if there's a band in like there's a young band in Madras, right? What's the recording scene like? If they said like, hey, we're a young band, we have a couple of songs, we want to do somewhat professional recording. Uh, where would they go? Is it all like just it's just high end film studios, or are there like mid tier studios? Is there like people who just like pay the money, record, see ya, as opposed to someone like you who can actually say, "Come on over, dude. Let's hang out, spend, mentor them, and have a." What's the recording scene? Is that even an option? Are people even recording like the smaller bands? Do they go to
That
the studio, or they record individually at home and
Yeah,
create
I mean,
music?
a lot of them are choosing to record from home. I mean, it's
Yeah,
um, no, I would say that these days there are a lot of options to record and a lot of softwares,
yeah.
and I think most of them do their recording at home. It's not necessary they go,
Okay.
and but they need, some of them go to professional studios to record, and there are mid-tier recording studios also. They're not expensive, but
Yeah.
if the guys are, sorry for the honking, uh,
All
you
good.
know this reminds everyone that I'm in Chennai, Madras. you know the honking is pretty evident. Anyway, recordings, yes, of course, there is mid-level recording also there. The higher level recordings also there. They do the recording and the mastering, and the mastering takes a while, and depends on the genre of the music also. Which is the recording guy and the guy who masters should know the genre, which is
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's no, at least for the average band, is there like a producer who knows the genre and says, okay, you're doing rock, okay, let's do this, let's make music, let's tweak it. But if you're recording from home, you're just recording, you just what you have is what you get at the end of the day. Like, there's no producer that says, okay, hey, I want to record a death metal album. Okay, Eddie, I think you would be a good producer. You understand the genre, you right, and you can help produce the album and say, let's try this here, let's try it, let's not do that, let's do this, right? There's that sort of a relationship is difficult to find, right? It's just a swipe your card, pay for the studio. Uh, there's no producers, sort of. You record your music. How it turns out is how it turns out, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But sometimes, the artist also can sit with these guys and work with them. That I've seen. After Bonesaw, you won't forget. I shouldn't forget this guy. One of the guys, a big fan of Bonesaw. He took me. He found me where I work, and he found that I was when he had. By the time I think you left, I guess, or you were there. I mean, no, you weren't there that time. So sorry, this is off the topic.
all good.
And why I'm adding this, because he wrote a couple of songs and he wanted me to do the vocals, and he wanted to record. So that's where the first time I went to a studio to record my voice, and with his lyrics, and he was a big fan of mine. He was treating me like God. I mean, no, sir has come, and give him the drink, give him this, give him that, and sir, are you comfortable in this? And and that's where the first time, and the guys in the studio was like shocked hearing me, like, what this guy is trying to. Is it a song, or is it a? He was asking me, are you part of this WWF? And what, you know, and they didn't. This guy was like, shh, don't disturb him. This is the song that we have to. This is all, and yeah. I mean, of course, the studio guy had no clue. I mean, what
Yeah,
did what
yeah,
what is happening there,
yeah.
and that's the reason I included.
Eddie, thank you so much, dude. It was good to talk. At least while there is no documentary of the, obviously it was more Bonesaw skewed, but like we threw out so many other names like Blasphemy, even Banglo bands, Threnody, whether late '90s, mid '90s. I think that was a great era of so much of formative bands and the music scene that really built on top, like today's death metal scene and underground scene built on top of. It would be really nice to do a little documentary on that genre, that era, because we are not, unfortunately, it wasn't Hollywood or Nashville where things were documented, you know. So, but I think that would be kind of cool to just watch the whole '90s metal scene develop and all the bands, and like, yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah, awesome, dude. Thanks for laying the sacrificial groundwork with no applause, no rewards, nothing. But today's bands can stand on top of that, uh,
Yeah.
and grow from there, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
just a quick note, if you
yeah,
don't mind, before we could close that.
yeah,
We were, in fact, the legacy didn't stop there. I mean, I would say, I mean, what you and I had, of course, Aaron and the whole band, I would say, like, and
yeah,
I'll never, demerit or decredit or any of them, because it was a perfectly a teamwork.
yeah,
What we had, like, Mark Free great, and then
yeah,
Mario was there, and
yeah,
uh, Nikki, and, like, all these guys. I really wanted to name them. Aaron, of
yeah,
course, my guru in lyrics, and and of course, of course, you and me, and, like, we really unknowingly we developed a legacy, like, unknowingly, without innocently, we
yeah,
we did things which later on is a big impact on a lot of people. I would say a lot of people, a lot of and especially I was talking about this guy who knows about bone servers, like, so passionate, and, um, unfortunately, I was not there to help him or speak to him when he was down. Just after that, after this bone saw episode, was the blood covenant. Just
yeah,
want a quick reminder,
yeah.
myself and Brajesh started this drummer. We call him Hurricane, and
Mhm.
somebody can play his double bass around almost around 300 BPM,
Oof. Yep.
and to who wanted to meet somebody, and he came and met me, like, this guy, Legend. Okay, he met him in Bombay or something, like,
Yeah.
and Legend gave my card. I don't know why. To Brijesh, and he came and met me thinking he's going to meet Legend, and I told him I'm a vocalist because he saw my beard, and yes, and he said I'm drummer. Then we started this thing called Blood Covenant, but um, we are still hanging there. But if anybody wants to see how Bonsa could be, you could take some glimpses on Blood Covenant. It's there on
Yeah.
the YouTube. Blood Covenant
Yeah.
Chennai, yeah, or Madras, yeah.
Yeah. Super,
So
super. If you're not into metal or extreme, it'll shock you. It's pretty brutal. Uh, it's just aggressive. It's insane talent. In that band, I got to watch you guys practice at like 7 o'clock in the morning, practicing metal with double bass. It's crazy before going to work. But dude, yeah, man, Eddie, thank you so much. If you want to share anything, are you going for a surgery? If you want to share, what's that about? If not, we don't have to. But I know
yeah,
Eddie's had his beard before you go, Eddie. Eddie's had his beard for how many, like 20, 30 years? As long, I think high school when I met you, you had a goatee, and I think he's going to have to shave his beard
yeah.
and next week.
I think
You
after
want to share your
probably after
surgery?
yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I'm going for a posterior cervical surgery, which is for my spine, and you know, God, God be with me, and, like, and also, um, that's the first part of the surgery. If everything goes well, I don't have to go for the second part, where anterior surgery, which is on my neck, reaching to my spine. So. The only thing scares me is the needles.
Mm, yeah,
Otherwise, I know I'll be fully on sleep. But I know one thing for sure. I mean, I would love to share my faith also, because in God, because these days, Conrad, if you can, if I can take a moment, if it is
sure,
okay for
do it.
you, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, this is very serious. The reason why is people are very, very judgmental. Then judgmental. I'm talking about Christians. Very judgmental. I'm talking about Christians who are really against of against of, I would say I'm a Protestant, but against of Catholics. I mean, it's a very sad thing because um, you can add this on the podcast or you can delete it. But this is
No,
my
dude,
heart, which I
whatever.
really
There's no
wanted to pour
rules.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I really want to pour out because I this thing I remembered because I know that your parents are Catholics, and
Yeah.
I definitely know. I was there for your father's funeral, and he was a good man, and he served the Lord, I mean, and he's definitely in heaven for sure. It doesn't matter that he's a Catholic or Protestant. It's he worshipped the Trinity God, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and that's the base for our belief. And instead of judging people, because I got a call which ironically, like, judging me that because of that I once I took my what do you call that sacrament? Yeah, I'm talking about um, uh, what is that? The bread from the Catholic
Communion.
priest. I
Oh,
took it because
okay.
I felt there's no difference, Protestant Catholic, because this is the time that we have to unite as a Trinitarians, and and I took it. Then somebody said I took it in unworthy manner, so that I'm suffering for this. Glory to God. I would say, if I live, I'll give my testimony in the church that God has saved me. If I die, I go to His glory and bask in His glory, and I'll still rejoice without any pain or without any suffering. I'll be absolutely free from this world. I mean, that it doesn't matter for me, and whether I'm going to live or I'm not going to live. But the point is, God knows our intention. God knows our heart. God knows, um, where the direction that we travel. And the perfect example is the bones. How we journeyed, and how we uh, you know how it's all turned to
Yeah.
um, to a testimony right now. I can exactly point out to my son, saying that, dude, this is what the path that you're taking, it's right or wrong. And exactly, I can identify the mistakes, and I can timely correct them. And that's why God had allowed us, and to do all this thing right now, because He's going to come back soon. And we're going to see His glorious form. And you know and right now, it's no time to keep judging people. Oh, you're a Catholic, and you go to hell, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you become Protestant. No, I mean, it doesn't matter. Our own Protestant backyard is so much of garbage that needs
Yeah.
to be cleansed. And
Yeah.
who are we to go and point out others? And
Yeah.
we have absolutely no right. While I'm emotionally preparing myself
Yeah.
to something that is the doctors have given me chances of me going paralyzed
Yeah.
for my till my lifetime, or I might survive. My left hand is almost gone. I'm at the very less action and less thing. And I'm somebody calls me and says this, you're unworthily taken this thing, and that's why you're suffering. Instead of, okay, if you're so you know um, wanted to save my soul, you should have called me when you got to know. And just um, you know guys, what you've done is wrong. Repent. There was no repent, and there was never a word repentance came out of their mouth. They was just talking about how unworthily I've taken, and I'm suffering because of that.
It.
I should thank you, Conrad, because ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you guys this thing. Actually, you came into my life. at the right time, and opened up opportunity. I don't know how. I mean, it's because I would say it's a divine intervention, where you came and referred this vineyard and church and the thing, and even I would say the breaks in my life, whatever I got, it's I need to thank you, because you're the one. Of course, Aaron is one side, and the other side is you, musically, and also my career. And right now I boastfully say that I run the Unwind Center. That is not one thing is all glory to God, and but you played that vital role of asking me to come and join the company. That is phenomenal. I mean, the role that you played. I mean, I have to thank you first. I have to thank God first, and I have to thank you next. And I really appreciate the uh, you know for whatever reason, the how God moved you, and and because of that you helped me, and it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
um, we can't forget this, and all praises to God, I mean, I would say.
Awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
thank you,
Uh,
Conrad. Thanks for this,
yes,
and
thank you,
love
man.
to
I
you,
appreciate
and
you.
love to your family, and love to your audience, and I believe and bless that this channel, Tea Shop, grows to a coffee shop, and coffee shop to a five-star hotel.
I love it. Awesome, dude. Eddie, thanks, man.